Hey there, welcome to LC Yoga. My name is Laura, and today we're doing some yoga stretches for people who sit all day. And this is for people who do yoga, people who never done yoga, and everyone in between. So if you're ready, find a little place on your floor, it doesn't have to be a mat, and I'll meet you there. This is a set of stretches that I like to do when I've been sitting all day, which is most days. So we're going to start in a nice refreshing forward fold. So I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see a little bit more what that looks like. So just start with your feet about hip distance apart, something like that, maybe shoulder distance, doesn't really matter. You're just going to bend deeply into the knees and start to fold forward. And you can start out, if you're not one to stretch much, you can start out by placing your elbows on your knees and just kind of feel what that feels like in the backs of the legs. We're going to start to tip forward, right? So start to straighten the legs and we're going to turn the tailbone up toward the sky. All right, start to tip forward, and if you feel like you can put your hands on your feet, your shins, or the floor, keep your knees deeply bent. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to get the pelvis, top of the pelvis, closer to the thigh, and that's just going to help us stretch in a better way. We don't want to round the back and hang there. We want to stretch the backs of the legs. So start to turn the tailbone up toward the sky, leave the knees as bent as they need to be, and then just let the head start to dangle. And this is the good part. Now you can grab opposite elbows if you want. That just brings it, gives a little more weight to your torso and stretches out everything a little bit more. And just start to deepen the breath here. And whatever you're thinking about before you started this video, just let that go. Just a few deep breaths. And if you feel your legs start to open up, just let them straighten a little more. One more time, one more big breath. And then bend into the knees, and we're just going to come on back up to stand. So you may want to take a little interim step here with your elbows on your knees. Bend into the knees, come on up real slow. Not really interested in getting a big head rush here, so just come on up slow. And the next thing we're going to do is a little bit of a back bend, but we're not trying to crunch into the lower back. All that sitting, we kind of round forward all day. So we're just going to reverse that a little bit. So place your hands behind your head and interlace your fingers. Maybe let your thumbs rest on your neck. And that's just going to help support it. I'm not going to do a deep back bend here. What we're going to do is just stand tall, kind of find your feet, right? Get your balance, press your feet into the floor, and then press your chest up toward the sky. And let that be what puts a little curve in your upper spine. You should feel a nice little back bend between your shoulders. And just breathe here. You're going to feel a nice stretch here. All right, just opening up all that slouching we do. Take a few big breaths here. And then release it and just swing your arms. All right, just shake it out a little. And we're going to do that a couple more times because back bends I find are most effective in threes. So bring your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, thumbs down the neck, press, and you're pressing your sternum up toward the sky to sort of at an angle, up and away. Think of going up from your heels, right? Your heels are back here and your chest is going up that way. And just press your chest through your shoulders. If you feel any crunching in your lower back, come up out of it a little bit, right? And you can also lengthen that lower back by curling your tailbone, just sort of pressing your hips forward, right? It tilts your pelvis back a little, and that lengthens the lower back, stops that crunching. We don't want any of that. We just want to press the chest up and get a nice curve in the upper spine. That's the part we slouch the most. And then release it, swing the shoulder, swing the arms and the shoulders. Shake that out. I'm going to take that one more time. So hands behind the head, interlace, press the chest up. Press your feet into the ground, chest up. Big breaths. Aim that curve into the upper spine. And release it. Swing the arms. And we're going to do a little more for the shoulders. So I'm sure you're familiar with this. You interlace your fingers behind your back and start to pull your arms straight. And you got a few options here. So you can leave your wrists far apart, right? Because everybody's shoulders are different. You're going to leave your wrists far apart and just start to pull your arms up a little and feel that stretch. You can bring your palms forward, and that's going to bring the stretch a little bit more into your pec muscle, right? What I like to do, because when we round forward, we're overstretching the shoulder muscles and we're contracting the front of the shoulder, right? And that's where all that neck and shoulder pain comes from, because you're overstretching the back. So you got to reverse that by turning the shoulders out, right? So as you're pulling your shoulders back like this, or you're pulling your hands back, you're getting a little bit of that. But if you turn your thumbs down, like toward your butt and then down, and then out toward the back, you just rotate your arms out. Yeah, right? It's good stuff. So just hang out there, whichever one of those feels best for you. Pressing your chest up and away again, no big back bend here. This is really for the shoulders. And just let that stretch out. A couple of breaths, and then release it. We're gonna do one more of those. All right. So just shake that out a little bit. And then interlace your fingers behind your back. Wrists apart, wrists together, or do that flip by turning your thumbs down and then back. What you're doing there, just hang out there and stretch. And I'm going to explain it a little, but you've got some muscles here in your shoulders that are responsible for turning your shoulder forward and back. And when you sit all day, not only are you slouched, but your right arm especially is turned forward for a mouse, right? And maybe you're left for a keyboard. And so you're doing this all day. So at the end of the day, or a little breaks during the day, the more you can do that, the better. All right, one more big breath here. Shake that out. And then we're going to do a little bit of strengthening and stretching of the front of the shoulders, strengthening of the back. So we're going to do exactly what I was just talking about. So take your hands kind of out to the side like this. And then you're going to rotate your hands as far as they'll go. And you'll notice your shoulders are going to turn out. And what you're doing is strengthening those muscles in the back, right? So just hold that for a few counts. 2, 3, and release. All right, let them swing. And then do it again. 1, 2, 3, release. 1, 2, 3, release. And you just do that throughout the day. Just turning. Even if you're sitting in your chair, just do that, right? Sit up straight and do that. And you'll find over time, you'll get a lot less of that back pain. All right, now we're going to combine a forward fold and the shoulder stretch. So bend into your knees again. Come on down. And you may start with your hands, on your legs somewhere. Elbows on the knees, that's okay. And if it feels okay, go ahead and interlace your fingers behind your back. Same thing, wrists can be apart, together, or you can do that fancy flip. So this time you're flipping your thumbs down and then toward the front. So they're going over your head and then up to the sky. Turn your tailbone up, start to straighten the legs, but keep them as bent as they need to be, just for you to dangle here. And let your arms just get heavy. And stretch those shoulders. Big breaths. This is the good stuff, guys. Just reversing the blood flow, sending it back to the brain. You spend all day emptying your big brain out at your desk. So let some of that blood come back in. Fill it back up. This is great to do during the day. You don't have to wait till the end. You can do this during the day. even a couple times. I do it throughout the day, a variation of all these stretches every day. It's the only thing that keeps me from just being in pain all the time. All right, and then release that, bring your arms down, just let them swing, maybe rock side to side, turning from toward one foot and then the other. All right, and then now we're going to take a couple of lunges. So step back with your left foot and then lower your back knee down. Now you can hang out here just getting heavy in the hips and just let them, and you'll start to feel a nice stretch in the front of your left thigh, maybe a little opening in your right hip. It's first shoulders, then hips. That's all that, gets bunged up when we're sitting all the time. So just hang out there, and you can do just this. If you want to do a little more, you can place your elbows on your knees, start to come up, and that's what gets a little bit of a curve in the spine, so you're getting a nice little back bend, and you press your left hip forward. Yeah, feel that in your hip flexor? That hip flexor gets over tight. Hip flexor is right here, right in front of your hip. And that gets over tight. We sit all the time. And what that does is pull your pelvis, so it tilts it forward. And that misaligns your posture. And a lot of back pain comes from that. So press that hip forward. Just let it stretch. Big breaths. Imagine that muscle in the front of your hip just getting bigger every time you inhale. And then imagine it releasing when you exhale. And as you do that, you'll find you might go further into the stretch with every exhale. A couple more breaths here. And then bring your hands by your front foot. Lift your back knee, and we're just going to step back to where we were. Back into that forward fold. Bend the knees. Lift your head so your spine gets long, and then step your right foot back into a lunge. We're just going to do that same thing on this side. So you can drop your hips and just hang out here, pressing the chest forward. Or you can bring your elbows to your front knee. And now we're going to press that right hip forward. Dig your toes into the ground behind you, and that'll help you press that hip forward and get a nice stretch there. Big breaths. Great thing about doing this after a day of sitting or during a day of sitting is you're not just reversing the physical effects of sitting, but you're giving your mind a nice little chill break. When we're relaxed, we breathe deep, so the opposite is true. When you breathe deep, you relax. One more big breath here. And bring your hands down by your front foot. Now this time we're just going to bring both knees together, so you're kind of in a tabletop. And then walk your knees forward so that you can sit down in a cross-legged position. Now you got a couple of options here. We're going to do 2 more stretches to open the hips, a little bit of side waist, and then we'll call it a day. So you can just sit in a cross-legged position, whatever feels good for you, and start to press your chest forward. We're just looking to stretch the hips. For some people, that's plenty. Fingertips behind, press your chest forward. And just feel those, and you're keeping your lower back long as you press your chest forward and pressing your hips back, and that's what's giving you the stretch. For some people, that's plenty. Hang out there. If that doesn't feel like much, start to stack your ankles and your knees, right? So you do right on top first, your right knee on top. Flex your feet to protect your knees. If this doesn't feel good on your knees, go back to what we were just doing, or you have options here too. You can extend your bottom leg and do like a figure 4 shape, supporting your knee, and press your chest forward. And you'll start to feel that hip stretch, right? If you feel like you can stack knees and ankles, great. But if this knee is floating and that doesn't feel good, you might want to put something underneath it. Right? So flex those feet, press your fingertips behind, and just start to press your chest forward. And you might be straight up and down. You might not be pressing your chest forward at all. Just sitting here is enough of a stretch. So hang out there. Now, if you're sitting in a chair, well, I like to do this when I'm sitting at my desk. So my left leg would just be down, right, my left foot on the floor, and just put my ankle on my knee, sit up tall, and start to lean forward. I'm going to get a nice stretch there. So that's all we're looking to do here. The stacking of knees and ankles, not required at all. And as a matter of fact, you really want to protect your knees, so be careful. And just breathe. One more big breath. And then sit up. And we're just going to switch sides. So again, if your knees are sensitive, maybe just extend your right foot out. Figure 4, left ankle, right knee. Start to lean forward a little bit. We're not rounding the spine, we're pressing the chest forward. That part's really important to get a nice stretch. Otherwise, you're just going to pull the back. It doesn't feel good. So always pressing up straight. If that's too difficult, which for some people it is, you may want to sit up on something, and that'll help you tilt forward. A little cushion under the hips. Right? If you're stacking, flex your feet. Press your chest forward. If you're more flexible, you may be coming forward like this. That's great, but that's not required. If you're feeling it, you're doing it. Don't force. Don't shock the body. But if you start to open up, every breath, you might feel a little bit more. You can walk your hands forward. And one side may be different from the other. One more big breath here. All right, and then just cross your legs any old way. We're just going to add a little side stretching. So place your left hand down on left hand down on the floor beside you, and reach your right arm up. And then you're going to walk your left fingertips away and bend that elbow as you start to bend toward the side. And you're going to press your chest up toward the sky. Right, so you're twisting toward the right, and then press your armpit away from your left fingertips. So you press that up, drop your right hip down, and you're going to get a nice side stretch. And keep turning up. If your shoulder doesn't feel great, you might want to put your hand behind your neck. It's okay too. One more big breath. Forget to breathe. And then come on up, and we'll take that to the other side. So right hand down, left up, turning, twisting toward the left. So up, heart up to the sky. Reach up, maybe you start to bend over, maybe walking the fingertips away, and you press those fingertips into the ground, and your armpit goes up and away from that. You're going to feel that stretch. Got it? All right. So keep turning up. Breathe and open. One more big breath here. And then come on back to center. You can add a couple of stretch or a little twist if you want, just to the left, to the right. Shake it out, and that's it. Hope you enjoyed this short set of stretches for people who sit all day. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed today's class, come find me over on lcyoga.com. There you'll find all kinds of content that doesn't exist here on YouTube. With a 30-day free trial, you'll find commercial-free complete beginner series, intermediate flows, workshops, at-home retreats, challenges, lots of stuff to help you grow and expand your practice. So start your 30-day free trial at lcyoga.com, and I'll see you there.